the Euros reacted as you'd expect in terms of certainly the first round of the election. The second round was clearly a bit of a slam dunk. The big thing for the Euro here is what happens with the ECB going into the second half of this year. They've told us that they're going to be QE 60 billion per month till the end of the year, and we're all going to be waiting for the next announcement as to what's going to happen next year. Vague talk last week that they may give us an update in June. We personally think it's going to be September when they give us more colour. But at the end of the day, the ECB will be withdrawing more QE next year. How quickly they do that, we don't know. But if they come up with some sort of, we're going very quickly to no QE and we want to move the deposit rate back up towards zero.
So the stock of QE will go up, but the rate of increase of QE will go down. Still sounds like they're piling money in and not necessarily creating a demand boom, given, just for one anecdotal piece of information, the ACEA data that Karen gave us this morning on car sales.
But in terms of the currency, we're talking about the expectations of the market. The market wants, if the ECB exceeds market expectations for reducing QE and lifting that deposit rate quite quickly towards zero, I think that the euro could be quite strong. That said, I mean, the euro seems to be very finely balanced at 110. We've seen a massive reduction in euro short positions on the IMM. So I think that with that in mind, if you see some bad news on Europe, you could be back at 105. So we're probably mid-range here on the euro.
I don't know if it's just me wondering what Mario Draghi is thinking around Emmanuel Macron. I mean, he's been calling for fundamental changes in economy, structural reforms to take place for many, many years since the financial crisis. And it's not really been happening, quite frankly. In what Macron has been talking about, serious changes already. He's brought in some deregulation to the French economy that's made a difference. But the labour law is the next big hurdle for him to try and tackle. Do you think if there is a positive experiment, the ECB might actually be somewhat relieved that finally at least one big core economy is making changes?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely right, Karen. I think that clearly France is, as we said in the interview there, it's key to Europe. So if France can't get some sort of traction here in terms of reform, then Europe's still in that slow lane. I think for Draghi, the next 6 months probably sort of fairly calm on the political front. He'll be very happy with that. But the big test for Europe comes next year with Italy.
But they all like poster childs, don't they? And we saw Portugal, for instance, held up as one at one point, given the clean-up that happened, went into crisis, and then big intervention to try and restore that economy. And everyone liked the fact that Portugal had managed to step up. Also Ireland. Now, if France can be a different economy, a much bigger one, and send a message to the rest of Europe that something can actually be done and deliver stronger growth rates, then surely the rest of Europe, and particularly Mario Draghi, would be saying, oh, just seize upon the French initiative and run with it.
Yeah, but I think the trouble is with reform is, in France, is going to be quite difficult, we know, with the strength of the union.
There are so many hurdles, right?
But even when you do actually sign into law the reform changes, it's going to take time to actually have an impact upon the real economy. You're talking 18, 24 months from here for any real substantive change with any quick reform. So how quick
But that's the same time frame for central bank policy change, isn't it? Realistically, we're looking at a major change in the ECB, 18 months.
It is, but if we're looking for a quick win from Macron, we're just not going to get it, is my point. If Draghi wants to say, listen, I'll change policy as soon as we see that coming through in the data, we're going to be at negative rates in QE for a long time here.